Hello, welcome back to Otter Pop Culture, and today we're doing the third episode of Throwback Thursdays. And in this one, when Throwback Thursdays pretty much is when I do album reviews from the past. So right now I'm doing 10 80s albums and then 10 90s albums later on. So in this episode, we're still in the 80s, so we're doing Tina Turner's fifth album called Private Dancer, which came out in 1984. So as much as this is one of her solo albums, this is technically her third solo album technically, because the Tina Turner's The Country, which came out in 1974, and Acid Queen, which came out in 1975, those ones were called her solo albums, but she was still attached to Ike Turner and that type of like world still. So technically, the actual solo album without Ike is pretty much Rough, which came out in 1978, and after that came out was in 1979 was Love Explosion, and that one failed to chart, but the Rough definitely did, but it didn't. I think because of Love Explosion didn't chart, I think there was I know for sure there's a huge gap before she released another album. So I think she was trying to gearing up herself for coming back after that fail of a charter. So this is technically one of her actual solo albums, and this is actually the album that pulled her out, like official commercial success. She is Tina Turner on her own. So I actually am very excited to review this album because I had 3 songs on this album that I actually really, really liked before even getting to this album. So I was very excited to get into this, and I reviewed it, and I really, really like it, and it's definitely still pieces. There's some pieces that have some very meaningful parts. So let me go through it. So this is a 10-track album, and the first song comes out with Might Have Been Queen. So this song is pretty much talking about spirituality and pretty much how the Buddhist belief that in reincarnation, and pretty much she became a Buddhist in the 70s, and I think at this time she was talking with a writer, and they pretty much made a song after talking about her being a Buddhist and stuff like that. And I really like the production. I felt like it definitely feels very 80s. I got me into that mindset. And then moving on into What's Love Got to Do With It, one of my other favorite songs from her. I really, really love it. I love the whole idea of this kind of like cynical feel about it. And she's like, I'm cool with the physical, but this idea about what love is, there's love inside of this, is not happening. So I really love that. And I also love that, which is interesting. I love it, but it's very interesting. So pretty much it was first offered to Cliff Richards, and he rejected it. And then it got offered to Phyllis Hayman, but Clive Davis didn't really want her to do it, so he didn't allow it. So it got moved over. So it got moved over to Donna Summers, which is very surprising because I don't really see her doing this song, but at the same time I can see it be one of her songs. So, but it never got recorded, and finally it moved over to Tina, and she did it, and it just really, really I really, really like it. I think it was meant to be her. I think this is one of those moments where like the universe placed it right where it was supposed to be, and found it on the right person it's supposed to be. Like, I cannot see anybody else doing it, and without it feeling more like, without this emotion that she puts in her song, that she puts in a lot of her songs, when you'll see more in this album. Going into Can't Stand the Rain, which is funny because the first time I ever heard that song, or a piece of that I Can't Stand the Rain part, was a Missy Elliott song, but I think it's called Rain. So when I actually heard the full-on song, I even liked it more. I definitely like the song much better now that I hear the actual full song. And it's pretty much talking about like how the rain kind of reminds her of her past relationship, that she doesn't want to think about it too much, because what happens is that she starts thinking about all the good stuff that happened. And I think she's still still going through it at that time. Going into Private Dancer, which is my favorite song off the whole album, because the whole arch of the whole song. I know it's like 7 minutes and 14 seconds long, but it's 7 minutes and 14 seconds of heaven. So this song actually was first recorded by Dire Straits and written by the leader of Dire Straits, Mark. Hopefully I pronounced this right. No Fuller. But the vocals wasn't added to it, and so I think because the idea of it being taking too long to form, they couldn't really record it again for another 2 years. But by that time, it was presented to Tina, and she took it. She's like, I like it. I took it, and I released it, and it's like. Once again, it's just another. I know of Dire Straits. I'm sure I've heard one of their songs, but Tina Turner definitely brought the emotion in this. She's brought the emotion in this, and then the next song when it goes into Let's Stay Together, which is a cover from the sexy, iconic Al Green. This just added more like emotion to it. He has great emotion to it. Al Green kills it. This will always be his song. But she definitely did a lot of justice to the song. And then next going into Better Be Good to Me, which was originally sung by a rock band called Spider in 1981. This actually won her a Grammy for Best Rock Vocalist as a female. And it's really, really good. I love the sound. It's pretty much saying how she's kind of just going off the theme of everything. Has a lot of reservations and falling back into love. And so, in this direction, she's like, you better be good to me because I don't have time for anything. And that is a quick way for me to leave if gonna get this, if things get crazy. So yeah, this one is really, really good. And it's funny because first time I heard it was on the Jimmy Fallon show where he had Paul Rudd do like a lip sync to it, and I love his lip sync to it so much that I actually even love the song. So I started listening to the song a lot. So I'm glad that it was on this. And another one I really like which comes next is Steel Claw. This one is very interesting. It's pretty much talking about how hard the industry or the music industry and the media try to show you like, oh, there's so much to be a star. You get so much to you. Everything handed to you. It's a beautiful life to live as a star. But so a lot of working class try to build to that point, but the industry also keeps it down keeps it from anybody else getting to it unless you have some connections. And I think she's talking about that. It's like it sucks because then a lot of people kind of stay where they are, and some people think like, is this all my life? And some people, and as she says, like I think about suicide, I think about this. It's just like it gets depressing over time. I love it. Some of the quotes I like from it says, the odds turn out even when you give up believing in the cold law and still claw. Another one I like is try to get on board and you find the lock on the door. And it's pretty much that. It's just like, they advertise it, but they don't give it to you. They don't want you to have it. They just want you to fantasize about it mostly. Going into Help, which is a cover which is a cover of a Beatles song. I don't care for the song this is gonna get a lot of people just mad at me, but I don't really, there's a handful of songs from the Beatles I really like, and this is not one of them. So it's really great to see her do it, and it adds way more emotion than the Beatles could even fathom to add. She made the song herself to her own, and I think that's really, really nice. And finally, 1984 is the last song, was written by David Bowie, which is, you can smell the David Bowie all over it. And you can hear him because he's in the background vocals. It sounds very scary with the whole Beware of the Savage Claw in 1984, which I don't really know what that means, but I really, really like this creepy sound of it. And that's pretty much it. This is a really good album. I really, really like it. I give it a 9 out of 10. And leave a comment below, tell me what you thought. If you liked it, if you have any comments or any quotes or any experience with this album too, especially people that were living in that time, I would love to know what your stories are with it and how it, like, your connection with it too. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and notification bell, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.